pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Bryce Steiner?
Yes, sir.
Jason Frank?
Yep.
Steve Jordan?
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt?
Yes.
Dean Reister?
Yes.
Brian Smith. Everybody had a chance to review the minutes from the regular council meeting from last month. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
I have a correction.
Okay.
On page 2, it says something about third or fourth line from the bottom. It says there are concerns that where the would be,
Oh.
and I'm not sure if it's referring to the electrical or the easement.
Where the building would be. It should-
building.
Where the building would be located.
Okay,
So we
okay,
need to add the word building in there. I was concerned to where the new water treatment plant building would be located.
okay. I wasn't quite sure if that's what it was or if it was referring to the spring.
Yep. So I'll add that in there. So, motion to approve with the correction.
I'll second.
Okay, so Kenny first, Jason second. Motion to approve the minutes as corrected. Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yep.
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Steve Jordan.
Yep.
Dean Reister.
Yes.
Brian Smith.
Yes.
Finance committee meeting minutes. Obviously, not everyone knows exactly what happened, but I suppose somebody at the finance committee can comment if those minutes were accurate.
Yeah, I remember.
If not, are you gonna make a motion to approve?
Do we need to approve that, or is that just the committee? Because
Well, we can't, if we have another meeting to approve the minutes, then we have another meeting to approve the minutes and another meeting to approve the minutes, so where's it end? That's why, I mean,
I would have to abstain because I have no idea.
well, I guess I can just sign them and the mayor can sign them, I guess. I'm not sure what the protocol on that is.
Okay. I mean, if you need a vote,
Or I can wait till the next finance committee meeting to
Yeah.
approve them. So those,
But
till the next
thanks-
finance committee meeting.
Thanks
to
for
approve.
including those.
All right, the monthly bank reconciliation and finance report. Since no questions were submitted, is there a motion to approve as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Second. Oh, Kenny Reinhardt made the second. Motion to approve the bank reconciliation and finance report. Dean Reister,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Brian Smith. If each of you could sign the bank reconciliation report. Any questions on the Rita distribution report? Or what do you?
Looks like we're gonna end up in the plus again.
Yeah, it looks that way.
I mean, just sign
If there's no other questions on the Rita report, we'll move into, well, the police report. George is not here to give that, so we'll move on to the fiscal officer's report. Several readings this month. First we have a emergency reading of Resolution 2023-16. It's a resolution adopting the Secretary of Interior's rehabilitation standards for downtown buildings and declaring such an emergency.
Okay, can I ask a question on that, or do we need to do an emergency first?
It would be a motion to suspend the rules first.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Okay, motion to suspend the rules on the emergency reading. Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
No.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Dean Reister,
Yes.
Brian Smith.
Yes.
Okay, now you can.
Okay. I guess, first of all, why does it need to be an emergency?
Has to be submitted before the end of the month with the
Okay.
state.
Okay. And what does this affect the people in the downtown property owners?
It actually affects two buildings that are seeking grants, both owned by Cooks.
Okay, so this does not affect all property owners? They do, like, if there's a property owner that says, I want to tear down an old building because it's derelict, they can still do that?
It does- This, all this is a requirement in order for them to fulfill the completion of the grant application.
Okay, so this cannot affect any other property owner.
Has nothing to do with anybody else.
It would only affect people with applying for grant.
Okay,
For
so it only
those buildings.
affects those who apply for the grant.
Correct.
Okay, I was kind of concerned about that. Wording isn't,
Any
Doesn't
other
quite say
questions on that? If not, we'll entertain a motion to pass the resolution.
I'll second.
Motion to pass the resolution 2023-16. Brian Smith?
Yes.
Jason Franks?
Yes.
Bryce Steiner?
yes.
Steve Jordan?
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt?
Yes.
Dean Reister.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is the emergency reading of Resolution 2023-17. This is a resolution setting temporary appropriations for 2024 and declaring the same an emergency. The reason that this is an emergency is so we can operate going into January of next year. Temporary appropriations allow us to operate until March, the end of March. So I'm hoping to have permanent appropriations ready for council to vote on at the January meeting, so we can have 3 readings. It's hard to do permanent appropriations until we know exactly where we stand at the end of the year. As far as the total amount of appropriations, obviously everybody probably realizes that the amount is up in comparison to last year. But if you take the total of last year's appropriations, which were $2.2 million for 23. We do have the water tower project, which will be an in and out with the grant. That's $577,000, and we are expecting an additional $600,000 in engineering for the water treatment plant. So if you add those two together, we come up to the 4 million and 4.7 or 4.1 million, and this year we ended up at we would have been at 4.2 if you would add that to it. So basically they're right in line with what we were at last year.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules of 3 readings.
I would second that.
Motion to suspend. Motion to suspend the rules. Dean Reister,
Yes.
Brian Smith,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt.
Yes.
Now we entertain a motion to pass the temporary
I'll make a
appropriations.
motion to approve, pass.
Second.
And Brian Smith. There's a motion to pass the temporary appropriations on the floor. Dean Reister,
Yes.
Brian Smith,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt.
Yes.
I just want to add something real quick on here. This usually results, we're doing this year. Typically, we would end up having to do a special meeting between now and the end of the year. The temporary is going to allow us not have to have that special meeting.
Okay, next item up for business is the emergency reading of the revolving line of credit. So that is resolution 2023-18. This is a resolution authorizing the mayor and the fiscal officer to obtain a revolving line of credit to secure financing for the new water plant project and declaring it an emergency. Before we get into, I talked to the finance committee, explained that we have hopes of not utilizing all of this. We'll probably utilize a small portion of it to get through the engineering. That way we can keep enough money in our budget to be able to apply for a loan for the water treatment plant. But we're planning on moving some out of the general fund and paying for part of it out of the sewer as well. So
So this is just to make sure we
This
have
is
enough liquid assets.
liquid assets, because Curtis is expecting some water main breaks along when they're working on the water tower. So we don't want to deplete the water fund completely and then not have money to be able to fix water main breaks. So,
Might also be stated for your interest, it's done here at Antwerp Bank to keep the business here in town, and they're working with us on a revolving loan type thing.
Do we have other revolving loans now with them?
not with the bank, no.
No.
The
It's all
only,
in
the only,
state.
loan- the only loans are, they're all through the state right now.
Make a motion to suspend the rules of 3 readings.
I'll second that.
There's a motion on the floor to suspend the rules for the 3 readings. Dean Reister,
Yes.
okay, Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Brian Smith.
Yes, sir.
All right, Need a motion to
I'll make it.
pass. Jason Franks
I'll
first.
second.
Kenny Reinhardt second. There's a motion on the floor to pass resolution 2023-18 for the revolving line of credit. Jason Franks,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yeah.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Dean Reister,
Yes.
and Brian Smith.
Yes.
Moving on, we have an emergency reading for resolution 2023-19. This is to amend the 2023 appropriation. Resolution authorizing the fiscal officer of the village of Antwerp, Ohio, to amend appropriation and declaring it an emergency. There's a few line items that in the current budget, we actually collected more in the cemetery fund than what we originally appropriated. And obviously all that gets spent back out at the end of the year, so we have to appropriate the full amount. And the other, couple other line items, the street lighting fund, we're done making expenses out of that, so I adjusted the ones that we know that we're done spending on. Refuse collection, had to increase it by approximately for $500 to cover the final bill for the billing.
This only affects 2023.
This is 2023
To
year-end
get us through
appropriation.
the end of December
Be able to
31st.
pay all the bills at the end of December 31st. Motion to suspend,
Yeah.
Bryce Steiner,
I'll second that.
Dean Reister, second. Motion on the floor to suspend the 3 readings, Bryce Steiner,
Yeah.
Dean Reister,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Brian Smith. Next item is
We need a
motion to
pass.
pass.
motion to pass the amended,
I'll motion to pass it.
and is there a second?
I'll second.
Kenny Reinhardt. Motion to pass resolution 2023-19, Brian Smith,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yeah.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Dean Reister.
Yes.
Alright. Moving in, next item of business is the emergency reading of ordinance 2023-19. This is an ordinance to establish compensation for the village of Antwerp, Ohio for the calendar year 2024 and declaring this the same an emergency. The reason it's an emergency is we gotta be able to pay payroll effective January.
Okay. There's one thing I see is that the full-time police officers start at 360,000.
Almost a head typo there.
And,
I'll be applying for that
Yeah.
position tomorrow morning.
yes.
Oh, yeah, it'd be 36,000. There's an extra zero in there.
Yes.
I will make the correction.
Yeah, I just wanna,
36,000.
yeah. Seems a little low to me, but I don't know.
Well, that's on a slide between 36 and 42. It's up to George.
George makes the calls.
Yeah, yeah.
How he wants to appropriate it, and we can make an adjustment if we need to at any time, depending if somebody come in and demanded more, we can reevaluate it and make an adjustment.
Yeah, I think we lost a good guy recently, George said, because of our pay scale was kind of low.
They should
Well,
have.
they should have asked about that. He got all that training and then went to a different village, so that was nice that we paid for all that and then he left. But
We
yes, nice guy he was, I liked him. I wish he would have said something instead of just leaving, but you kinda don't know if you don't know, so.
Yeah.
Any
I
other-
don't know what to how to deal with that at this point
Yeah, well, no, I mean.
in the future.
Yeah, moving forward, I think we were talking about, putting it in writing that, just like we did with the fire department, because we had that same thing happen where somebody trained the fire department, did all that stuff, went on the first run and decided they didn't want to do it anymore because of the magnitude of the first run, which, so be
For the
it,
fire
whatever,
department,
but
not
I
for the
think
police officer.
we need to do that for the police department too, and just say, you know, if we're gonna pay to train all that stuff, then they need to commit to X amount of whatever, or they can pay it back type of thing, but.
Yeah, some
For at least a
certain-
full year or
Yeah,
something.
Yeah.
some sort of.
What does it
service.
cost the village to train a police officer?
That'd be a cost for, that'd be a question. for
Question for
George.
George, yeah.
He's on his way.
Okay. Because, yeah, that would be good if,
It's not just the training, it's the, the physicals and that kind of stuff, which we were reimbursed for a portion of that by the other village that hired this officer. I mean, George was able to work out a deal with their chief of police that they were willing to accept the physical paperwork that we had, so.
Where'd he go?
Archibald.
That's where he lives.
He lived up there, so it kind of made sense, but I'd rather he moved here.
So I'll make a motion to suspend.
Dean made a motion to
I'll
suspend.
second.
Is that Jason?
Yep.
Motion on the floor to suspend the 3 readings. Dean Reister,
Yes.
Jason Franks.
Yep.
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Steve Jordan.
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Brian Smith. Entertained a motion to pass the ordinance 2023-19.
One other question. The fire chief on here gets paid, I think, It's very little. Is that
That's,
something that we set, or is that something the state sets?
that is a volunteer, that was what the council set, and there was a raise involved with the fire department this year for every member of the fire department.
Okay.
And EMS too, like.
And EMS,
And
yes.
I'll
Make a motion to
make a
suspend.
motion with the
Pass.
modification.
With the modification, okay. Bryce made a motion to pass with correction. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Steve Jordan. Motion on the floor to pass ordinance 2023-19. Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Steve Jordan.
Yes.
Jason Franks.
Yep.
Kenny Reinhardt.
Yes.
Dean Reister.
Yes.
Brian Smith.
I'll get it corrected before you leave.
Next item up for business is ordinance 2023-20, which is the establish the time and place for the meeting. Have that forward to this one. It's an emergency reading for ordinance 2023-20, an ordinance to establish the time and place of the regular meeting of council for the village of Antwerp, Paulding County, Ohio for calendar year 2024 and declaring the same an emergency. I will take the blame as this being an emergency. I dropped the ball being the new fiscal officer and didn't get it presented in September for the 3 readings, so.
Didn't we pass one in September?
No, we did not, because I didn't bring one to council. That was last year that we passed that, or you guys passed it last year.
I was thinking we changed it from Monday to,
We corrected it,
We
and
corrected it.
that was for only for 2023.
that was only for 23.
This is for the year of 24.
Do we know that Mr. Stanley is gonna be available on Wednesdays?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Has everybody been happy with Wednesdays?
works well for me.
Okay.
Minus a few wings, yeah.
If there's any other, not any other discussion, I need a motion to suspend the rules.
I'll make it. Oh, good.
Jason Franks is the first and
Yeah.
Steve is second.
Yeah.
Motion on the floor to suspend the rules for 3 readings. Jason Franks,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yeah.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Dean Reister,
Yes.
Brian Smith. Now entertain a motion to pass ordinance 2023-20.
I'll make a motion.
Brian Smith,
I'll second.
Bryce Steiner. Motion on the floor to pass ordinance 2023-20. Brian Smith,
Yes, sir.
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Dean Reister.
Yes.
And the last item on ordinances and resolutions is an emergency reading of ordinance 2023-21. An ordinance to retain the services of Cam R. Stanley as solicitor for the village of Antwerp, Paulding County, Ohio, and declaring the same an emergency. Need a motion to suspend the
I'll
rules.
make a motion to suspend the rules.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion on the floor to suspend the rules for the 3 readings on ordinance 2023-21. Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Dean Reister,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yeah.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Brian Smith. All right, is there any discussion on the ordinance?
Is this for the issue we've had with the Wilcox trailer to hire an outside attorney?
No, this is for a new solicitor. Shane had informed the mayor that he was resigning effective, I guess, today.
Oh. Okay.
So this will be the new solicitor from, it's scheduled as of today. He was planning on attending the meeting, but he left work and went to urgent care and was diagnosed with the flu,
Oh,
so,
he's the one that's sick.
yes.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
I make a motion to pass.
Motion on the floor to pass. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Jason is the second. Motion on the floor to pass ordinance 2023-21 to retain Cam Stanley. Dean Reister,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
and Brian Smith.
Yes, sir.
All right, there we go. Those items of business. I've got, let me find it here. I was contacted by April Demrup from Rita, who handles the collections for the village for income tax. She provided me with a list of residents, or some are no longer residents, I checked with Val, who have outstanding liabilities dating back to 2016. Rita has a program where they will pursue these collections for us, but otherwise they're just gonna be dropped off. Because what happened was these individuals had a payment plan with Rita and they are no longer making their payments. Long story short, there's a total outstanding balance currently with these residents of $7,725.55. That's with the interest and penalty that's been added onto the account for being past due. But the original tax was about 66.9239. But their proposal is we establish an account with $1,000 in it. It's an advanced court cost related account. This will cover legal fees associated with them filing civil litigation with these individuals, and fees for special legal fees along the way. It will also cover the cost for an attorney attending small claims hearings at $35 an hour, or at the end, if they have to go through the Federal Tax Information Department to go after these people, Rita pursues the case on behalf of the delinquent taxpayers through the agency. And that'll cover those costs. Now, that $1,000 will be reimbursed or recouped replenished by two different ways. First of all, any shortage will be deducted from our monthly distribution if we decide to do that, or it'll be replenished from the balances that are collected from the suits. Currently, the law firm that they use is Reimer Law. It's who they've worked with, and they have a contingency fee of 18%. So if we decide to do this, basically, we would be out the $1,000 up front, but it'll be replenished by fees and stuff that are collected through these lawsuits. My thought process behind it is 50% of something's better than 100% enough, but I don't know
If they collect.
if they're able to collect it. So, I mean, we won't get 100% of it, but right now, we're out the $7,000, and Rita is no longer gonna try to collect these because they've set up payment plans with these individuals, and they've either A, left the village, moved out of town, or B, they're just no longer paying their payment plans.
Do we have a ratio of how many have moved out? Like, is it just, like, do we even have a
I checked
chance
with Val to find out on the list, and I would say probably half of those people are no longer residents, but they still owe the tax from the time that they lived here. So,
Is this a result of when we contracted with Rita to pursue delinquent tax?
I believe so, yes.
So
This
this
is
is the
what's left.
results and what they can't.
They can't collect,
They need to go to the next
or
step.
people are no longer making the payments that they originally had. The next step, it's either A, it gets dropped, or B, we start this program.
So the payment plan was what Rita set up, and
Originally with these people, they contacted these people and set up, a payment plan or something to get their taxes paid, and the people may have paid it for a couple months and then quit. Some of them are as recent as 2021 taxes, but some of them are back to 2016, so. I just need somebody to make a motion if we decide we want to do this, or if we just want to drop it. I mean, Rita is looking for us to make a decision on if we are gonna try to do a self-collection, which, with us not having any idea where some of these people live, I don't think you're gonna get anything out of that. I mean,
Has the RETA committee made any recommendations? Have they?
we have not met on it. I mean, this email came in after last month's meeting, and then, I just thought I would present it to council this month to see what everybody's thought was on it.
Yeah.
If you prefer that I prevent it.
So they want $1,000 up front, and they want.
It'll be $1,000 that goes into an account, basically. It's a deposit.
Sure.
The money's still gonna be there. It's our money.
That's the 18%.
What's
And that's to cover the legal costs going forward. And then once those get used up, they will be replenished by either A, what they collect, or if there's not enough collections coming in off of that, they will take it out of our monthly disbursements to get it back up to the $1,000, if they needed more.
Wow.
So, my recommendation would be, let's give it a shot, see if we can start collecting anything off of it, and if not, then we can always cancel the program later, but that's obviously up to council to make a decision on that. It'd be similar to what Ashley is doing with the Ohio Attorney General and the EMS runs that people have not paid on, and we are starting to see some collections on that. I mean, there's been some deposits made the last month, and then one this month so far on those collections, so.
I would make a motion that we support his proposal.
I'll second that, yeah.
first.
And we, as a RETA committee, we didn't.
Motion on the floor to move forward with the RETA collections by Dean, second, so, Dean Reister,
Yes.
Steve Jordan.
Yeah.
Bryce Steiner,
No, I don't think it would.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
and Brian Smith. I will let April know that we're going to move forward with establishing that. The next item that I have on there is the Paulding County Economic Development. Last year, we participated as a gold member and pledged $1,500 towards the Paulding County Economic Development. The break points from gold would be, if you wanted to move up to platinum, would be to increase it to 2,000. But if we want to stay at the gold member, we could continue with the same deposit we made, or donation that we made last year. So I just kind of wanted to see where council stood on that.
I say keep it the same.
There, I'd be fine with moving
Maybe.
it up. I mean, since we're having a discussion, I'd be fine with moving it up just based on the amount of things that they're doing and the productivity. But I think that's why we moved it up last year as well. So if we leave it at 1,500, that's fine too. I just know they do
They've
a
been working
lot.
pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, they've been getting after it, and especially with this project out here and just different things. I mean, they are definitely moving the ball forward. So I mean, I have no problem giving them more, but I also understand we gave them more last year, bumped it up. So that's obviously just my little
I'm kind of neutral. I can go either
2
way.
cents.
So anybody want to make a motion? $2,000 would get us to the platinum.
Okay, and we did 15
We did
last year.
$1,500. So 1,000 to
We did a year
1999 is gold.
1,000, I think, the year before.
Did we do 1,000
year before,
2 years ago, and then 1,500?
I think.
So if somebody wants to make a motion to the effect that we keep it the same or raise it, I mean, then we can
I'll make a motion that we raise it.
to the 2,000.
Yep.
There's a motion on the floor to raise the economic development to 2,000. Is there a second?
Second that.
And Kenny Reinhardt is a second. Okay, there's a motion on the floor to raise the Paulding County Economic Development donation to $2,000. Jason Franks,
Yes.
Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yeah.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Dean Reister,
Yes.
Ryan Smith.
Yes, sir.
There's that. I have one other item that involves finance that just came up as of yesterday, so it wasn't on there. So when you guys look at your finance report, you're gonna see that the deposit fund balance has a current balance of $8,226.30. I've looked back through, well, first of all, I just thought that was odd that the deposit balance had a 30 cents carryover in it. So I checked with Val, the deposit balance with our utilities collection should be $8,050 for the people that have. So somewhere along the way, the balance has been off by $176.30. I looked back till January 1st, it was off by the same amount up through that point. I'm not gonna spend several years going back. It could be 10 years ago that it was off. I don't know when this error happened. I contacted local government services, who works with the auditor of state to help out local governments with solutions on problems. What their advice was, bring it to council, present it to council that we're off by the $176.30. And their proposal would be, based on deposits that were returned this year, that we would put that same percentage into each fund. Basically what happened was the revenue was not, so we're off by $176.30. Deposits that were returned this year, 61% of them went to the water fund, 35% of it went to the sewer fund, 1.3% went to storm, 2.2% went to refuse collection, and 0.5% went to compost. So what I'm looking for is a motion to reconcile the deposit account with what Val has down there with the residents that are renters, so it matches the books with UAN. So what would happen at that point was we would move, if we use the same percentages, we'd move $107.54 into water, $61.71 into sewer, $2.29 into storm, $3.88 into refuse, and 88 cents into compost.
We've got a surplus.
There's a surplus in the deposit fund that somehow was never reconciled when the deposits were,
That's a good thing.
I mean, basically what
That's
happened.
not a negative.
It's not, we're not backwards, we're ahead of the game. What happened was it never was moved out of the deposit. When renters moved out, usually the deposit gets used up and Val gives me a report that says, hey, we used X amount of dollars for water, sewer, so on. Somewhere along the line, I don't know if it was in 22 or back in 1990, they've gotten off by $176.30. So in order
What do
to
you need, a motion?
need a motion to
I will make that motion.
reconcile the
Yes.
figures, so there's a motion by Kenny to reconcile based on the percentages of return deposits. Is there a second?
I'm second.
Okay. Motion on the floor to reconcile the deposit fund balance. Let's see, Kenny Reinhardt,
Yes.
Ian Reister,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yeah.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Steve Jordan.
Yeah.
And Brian Smith. And the last item I have for fiscal officers is to swear in our newly elected officials. So, do you usually take care of this, Jan? Bill is up first.
Bill's up first. Come on up, Bill.
Oh, did it?
I don't think they can.
By your left.
Vote.
I, Bill Boylan,
I, Bill Boylan,
solemnly swear to affirm
solemnly swear to affirm
that I will support the Constitution
I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and faithfully discharge the duties
faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of the council
of the office of the council
for the village of Antwerp,
for the village of Antwerp,
to which I have been elected.
to which I have been elected.
Brian Smith will be next. Who gets to swear in, Joe? You do, because you're president. It's like year here. Yep.
Swear in, not swear out.
Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
I, Brian Smith,
I, Brian Smith,
solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and faithfully discharge the duties
and faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of council
of the office of council
for the village of Antwerp,
for the village of Antwerp,
to which I have been elected.
to which I have been elected.
Very good.
Sign that.
Good.
Sign right there. Take care of swearing in, Jamie.
Yes. All right, Mayor.
Aye.
I gotcha.
Right.
I, Jan Reed,
I, Jan Reed,
solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and faithfully discharge the duties
faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of mayor
of the office of mayor
for the village of Antwerp,
for the village of Antwerp,
to which I have been elected.
to which I have been elected.
Congratulations.
That's all I had for the fiscal officer report. Committee reports, I guess we kind of already went over the finance committee report that happened at the end of last month. And if there's no other committee reports, move into new business.
Do we have a a water plan to replace the lines? Is that included in this water tower project?
It is not.
Okay, because we are having so many water main breaks. And I don't know if you guys saw what happened to Ray Friend's building, but it was a disaster. And that hasn't been the latest water main break. And I was just wondering, can we set up a 5-year plan that changes the whole village out?
I put together a list of 10 areas of the village, and I gave it to council a few months ago, outlining those that we were looking at replacing over time. As an example, we're right now looking at Canal in Wentworth for water and storm. What was engineering on that?
784.5. Or, no, 10.5. That was
78.5.
74.5. It was
74.5.
just under the 74.5.
Just underneath the bid price.
Yep.
The problem is number one, cost, but number two is time. I mean, the time that it takes from when they begin to when they complete the engineering and stuff. So, excuse me. So we're working on it within our limitations of finances, and we just the guys continue to make repairs as necessary.
Yeah, it seems like they're spending a lot of time making repairs.
But the problem
Been that way
is,
since I've been here.
as he mentioned, is the finance part of it. I mean, we're talking about building a new water treatment plant, and that's gonna be a large expense for the village if that gets done, so you can't just do everything at once.
What
You
happened?
gotta
to
operate
the
within the
rail?
budget of what we have
Right,
available.
right, I mean,
What
'cause
happened to
I
raise
mean,
building?
Part of the line broke behind the building, flooded.
he's been closed since a week ago Saturday because his place was full of mud.
Was it our
His whole
main or
building was.
His service,
It
His
was,
service.
his service to the, after the Peter went in?
it was the main.
Well, it
Back
came off the main, but I mean, it was servicing his building.
Yeah.
Stuff.
It was a big disaster. And they're still closed. They've had service master in every day, trying to get that cleaned up. I mean, it's gonna cost a fortune for them. But, like it seems like the water lines might be in worse shape than a water plant.
Some of them.
Yep.
Uh,
I'm not gonna
You
argue
guys
that.
were telling me that they have some of them that break 3 times in the exact same place, so right, it's just a few days apart. And I know the Ed Bone, EMA, said that if we have a fire, it could easily blow out one of the lines because of the reverberations of shutting off and turning on the amount of water too. That if it was, like, we had a bad fire in a bad neighborhood that has bad lines, they might not have water.
The guys are real good at trying to shut it off slowly.
Slowly, yeah. But if there was some way that could be bumped up.
And we normally do
Prioritize.
have breaks after large fires, like a house fire or a building
yeah.
fire, we normally do have a break.
We just haven't had any, I'm glad we
But
haven't had
knock
any.
on wood.
Right,
Yeah.
right. With these 4 or 5 trailers that have burned in the last, since Thanksgiving Day, does make me concerned.
Yeah, there's no argument. We
Nope.
definitely need repairs to our water system.
Yeah, if
I
there
mean,
was a way to,
We're making measures to try to address this, but, I mean, without inflicting some sort of huge cost onto the village, I mean, that's really the alternative, is to just increase water on the villagers. I mean, I hear people say the village should pay for this and the village should pay for that. Well, we are the village, so if we wanna pay for stuff, then somebody will have to make them hard decisions and raise rates or something.
we have to have the engineering for water lines. We can't just dig them up and put new ones in.
Correct.
Absolutely, yeah. EPA requirements.
I hope that the plastic lines do last, I hope.
The plastic lines are not an issue. It's the other materials that we have that, you either have the cast or you have the clay or whatever the case may be. Those are the ones that are the issue.
The sewer line behind Ray's, when they dug it up, the plastic one was actually broke. They were actually running beside each other, the sewer, and when they were showing it, they had to put a, whatever they call them, sleeve over the plastic one because it was broke there. I was like, oh, I thought the plastic were impervious, but maybe they're not. It was also PVC and probably not.
Maybe somebody hit it with a backhoe. Hard to tell.
I think some of his trouble was the garbage truck.
That was,
In the dumpster for the,
I- that was the 3rd time it's broke, and, yeah, but anyhow, I would love it if we could come up with like a 5-year plan, since we raised rates on everybody last year, that says we're doing something instead of just,
We are doing something,
Chasing
but
the tails.
understand this, it doesn't happen overnight.
I know, but it.
And stuff,
but
so
having-
don't imply that we're not.
No, but having like a 5-year plan that says this part of the town we're gonna do, and then this part, and then
He's
this
got
part.
that plan right.
Yeah, he
That's what we
presented
were
that.
talking about months
Yeah.
ago, though. That's
Right,
why, that's why I
right.
was bringing this up.
He asked for it.
Yeah, I feel like we got that.
Mhm.
We got some information we didn't like too, with the cost to it, but
Yeah.
at least we have it though.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Chief, do you want to give your report while you're here and available?
Yeah, I'll have a copy of it. Any questions? Okay, thanks. That's all I need. We'll find it.
Get a couple cookies. Or a tray.
And while you're here, Bryce had a question about the cost of training a new officer.
What's the cost of training a new officer?
Depends on how much training you give him. What are you referring to?
Well,
On a new hire.
like we just had a really good officer leave for Archibald, and we had and I guess we paid for the training. What is the cost of something like that the village pays for? Then we might lose somebody because our
Probably.
wages may not be as good.
Probably a couple $1,000s, I would guess, depending on how much training he receives or what all I do with him. But, yeah.
Is it something like, do we send them to Vantage or?
No, they're typically certified when they get here. The
Oh,
training they
okay.
receive is like, working with the officers, learning the computer system.
Got ya, okay, so it's not like outside training. Okay.
What's the equipment trouble, George?
That could be any, we put that in our report system, I don't know, a few years ago, just so we could kind of keep a record of, it could be anything, like most recently, there was, one of the tires was leaking air, which happens every year because of the aluminum rims.
Okay.
So usually we end up getting Chuck Starry, who used to have Chuck's tires, he still got his equipment. He's usually very courteous and just kind of, pops it off, cleans the rim, puts it back on, usually we're good to go.
Okay. Good deal. I was just making sure it wasn't something
Sure.
higher tier, I guess, relative to that. I mean, obviously you need tires, but.
Right. We have been very busy.
Yeah, nice work on catching the front porch guy. All over. That was all over the what's going on in Antwerp world.
Yeah.
He helped us, he spent the night in the trash can, so.
Nice.
And then
That's a cold night.
Did he surrender because he was cold?
I
guy
thought
gotta
the
be
look of the
cold.
trash can, I don't know, but he got cold and unfortunately knocked and asked for a blanket.
Okay.
That's how we got him.
Yeah, I heard he said knocked and said he was lost and cold or something like that. Like, perfect.
Has there been any activities, anybody, George, you were involved in a little bit on the old car wash out on Old 424, anything going on there?
I've talked to him a few times, Mr. Marlin, and I don't know, I haven't checked it this week, but I know he's been coming into town and slowly working on like removing the what's left of the roof. And when I talked to him, he told me his plan was to completely remove the roof, find a construction person to come in and redo that one wall that's leaning. And then I don't know after that. He talked like maybe he would put a new roof on it, or at least have it acceptable to where he could probably, do something with the property as far as selling it. So at least there's some progress.
Baby steps.
Yes.
No other questions for George? Is there any other items for new business?
Thanks, George.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, George.
No other new business. We'll move into old business. No old business, I guess we'll move into major report.
Okay. For this month, total to the village, $1,434. To the state was $525, and the indigent driver, $21, with a total of $1,980.
Hey Kevin, I have a question about accounting. Do we get any sales tax at all? Or is it just state and
We
county?
use state income tax and our income tax, and then we get what's called local government distributions for what they call monthly net profit.
But no sales tax, okay,
I think it all goes into the county portion of it.
okay.
Pass that down to Karen, please.
If there's no other questions, the motion to adjourn.
Hey,
Before we do that, I was just gonna, if you wanna do it, I just wanna thank Kenny.
Oh, yeah.
Kenny's last meeting, 30 years.
almost 30.
Almost
I got
30 years.
hired, or I got elected in November of 1991. And there was one term I didn't run, so I sat out one term. Other than that,
I wanna tell you thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Worked with Kenny for a
I'll
good
make a
many
motion to
years. I'm gonna miss you.
Bryce made a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Did we do the mayor's report?
She didn't pay that one.
She made money.
Everybody in favor to return?
Yes.
Kenny, open your card. The guys just, they don't know what I did.
6:15.